other people have successful and long-term relationships. They have good job, the job of their dream, but I don't. Why is that? Today we're going to talk about that, and also how can we change it? You know, we either disempower ourselves, either we empower ourselves. Either we help support ourselves towards our goal, towards our wellness, either we sabotage ourselves. So today it's about us. It's about humans. It's about our mechanism, our self-defense mechanism, how to be more aware of them. And I'm going to talk about the method that I use with my clients, and also tell you about their story, how they overcome a certain situation, how they have become stronger than their mechanism. Okay? It's so important to know that emotions, they have potential, right? So an emotion has a energy charge that either I let it pass through me, either I keep it inside myself. You know, how long does an emotion can stay in our body? 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Imagine just an emotion is coming. I'm feeling anger. I have it, and then I let it go. Theoretically. But most of the time, we just hold it in our body. And you can also see physically people when they are in their, I'm offended. I didn't like what you said, and I don't like you either. And you see people also start to breathe differently. Yeah, just this kind of high way of breath, and they stuck. They keep that emotion in their body. The emotion stuck within their body, and if you would just touch them, they would just let that thing go. And it's difficult then to hold that emotion, right? But we like that. We kind of like to suffer. We kind of like to justify our situation because you made me angry, because you made me sad. Cheers. So our defense mechanism, we can actually ask to our friends. So what do you see about me? Like every time we face a certain topic, for example, when I'm talking about my ex-boyfriend or my ex-girlfriend, my ex-wife, my ex-husband, what do you perceive? Am I open? Am I talking about that with open heart? Or do you feel something? And they will tell you. They will tell you that you can have a monologue for 30 minutes saying how bad they were and how miserable and poor you are. They won't use these words, okay? But you just acknowledge that. We like to be victims. We like to create this mask of victims because they did it. And it's not about me, it's about them. We create those masks, we create those mechanisms during the first 7 years of our life. Okay? We realized somehow that every time we scream, our parents came to us and they give what we asked for, right? And some people, you can see that they got triggered very easily and they start screaming. Even if we are talking just about, sport, or we are talking about life, I'm saying my opinion, which doesn't match with their opinion, and all of a sudden they start screaming. Okay? So, can they do something about that? No. unless they realize that this is a pattern, unless they become more mindful of when it's the moment that something is start to move within themselves, that charge, that emotional charge as a sort of wave, right? You start to feel it just a little bit, you get triggered, okay? Because they are saying that your choice about vaccination or not vaccination, it's stupid. They are saying it, and you start to feel triggered, right? I got here an alarm. Okay, but I don't have clients right now, so we can keep our conversation. So they get triggered, or you get triggered, and this wave is getting bigger and bigger till it got to the top, and that's the moment when the person starts to scream. That's the moment when the person starts to say things that afterwards will be ashamed of. But we can do these things for decades, right? We can keep doing this for all our life if we don't realize that it's not about them, it's about me. Everyone can have their opinion about whatever topic. But maybe you notice how, especially in those 2.5 years where this pandemic situation has occurred in our planet, how people that were already scared, and I do understand that because it's about survival, right? They got triggered so easily and they lost their ability to speak, maybe from their heart, maybe from at least their rational mind. They would just say their opinion, even if you didn't ask for their opinion. And they would do it sometimes in a kind of aggressive way, right? As we become more mindful, we can feel how we are getting triggered, how the emotion is moving, how it's getting bigger, bigger and bigger. And now I have a choice. Now I have a choice because I recognize that this emotion is passing through me. I can let it go or I can let it speak for me. So in that moment, I'm not talking as Giovanni. I'm my anger. I am the anger speaking to you. As we practice, we can get more and more mindful and maybe start to observe this emotional wave earlier and earlier. We can catch it and we can maybe just take a few deep breaths. Those who are having therapy with me, they have more and more tools every time I'm giving you more tools because I keep discovering more tools how to handle our emotional, how can I say, it's almost an emotional body, right? How we can handle our mental body, our mental conversations, how we can handle our physical body. Yeah, because the physical body wants to survive and it's doing all they can to keep ourselves safe. So those reactions of anger or just fear, and what next? I feel afraid. What do I do next? Do I hide? Do I run away? Do I attack? So understanding that our body is doing their work, and sometimes it's not even about a real threat. Okay? So the other person is just expressing their opinion. They're not threatening us. They're just saying, this is my opinion. And if we let our emotion, if we let this potential, this energy lead ourself, then we are just puppets. Yeah, we are not in control of what is happening. We are not in control of our reaction. And there is a big difference between action and reaction, right? Action is like, I'm here and I decide what to do. I realize that here we got a different opinion, whether should we get vaccinated or not, and they are still my friends or they are my family member. Do I want to have still a relationship with them after this conversation or not? By the way, did they ask my opinion or not? So this is a decision, a conscious decision. And whatever you will say, whatever you will do, it's a conscious action. A reaction is just event, situation, and whatever answer is coming. Just super fast. Instinct. It's automatic. And I want to talk to you about those instincts, okay? What I was explaining is that our defense mechanism, they were formed during our first 7 years of our life. And if we don't do anything, we will keep repeating them. We will just keep repeating them. So if you go to, let's say, old school psychologist, they will just tell you, okay, and how do you feel in this situation? Oh, every time you meet a new partner, you feel this way, okay. And then they would propose you some different way to react. And you would try this and that, but actually it's so hard right now to switch the reaction, because at the core there is another mechanism which is stronger, because as I said, it was formed during our first 7 years of life here in this planet with this body, and we are talking 30 years after, or 40 or 50 years after, with another person, with an adult who is telling us, okay, just switch, just, make the switch. So if you go to another kind of therapist, if you do the RPT process with me, we get to the moment where this mechanism was formed, and we realize what is the need that wasn't fulfilled. Okay? The person starts to acknowledge the situation, how they perceive it, not maybe how it was actually, but I say, okay, in that moment I perceived, my perception, my own vision of the situation was that I was in danger, I wasn't appreciated, and all of these things. And through the process, we kind of start to have a broader vision of the whole situation, of the whole dynamic that happened when we were kids, and start to realize more things about why that happened, why I felt like that, and maybe that was not so bad as I remember. Because actually our memories, they are not something objective. They are not something like, a movie that you can watch it, and after you finish the movie you can just say, okay, let's watch it again. and you go back and you play it, and it's the same movie, right? The same exact movie. With our memories, it's not like that. Even what happened this morning, I can just try to remember and to see it. But while I am remembering, I am also changing something. I'm changing some details unconsciously, but it's happening. About the movie, we can then say, okay, 6 months passed, and I want to watch that movie again. And after 6 months, I just start from the beginning, play the movie, and well, maybe I change a little bit during these 6 months, right? So I can already notice something different, and anyway, it's the same movie. So I will be focused on other details. Let's talk about not the memory of this morning, but about the memory of 5 years ago, when that breakup happened with our ex, okay? Or 10 years ago, when the other breakup happened, maybe with our wife or husband. We cannot just see the things objectively, in an objective way. We already modified that so many times, because during these 5 or 10 years, we remind ourselves of this event. We kind of get into it like we were actors. We get into the movie and we start to talk again with our ex. Yeah, but that's about you again. That's about you. And we enjoy those kind of processes, right? When we have the chance to tell them what we didn't say 5 years ago or 10 years ago. But again, we traumatize ourselves. That's what we do. We just traumatize ourselves again, because the same chemistry in our body, it's happening. The same emotional response, it's happening. That emotion, that anger that I had, that resentment, that sadness, every time I think of that event, I bring it back to me in the present moment. And you guys already know that our body doesn't know the difference between something that is actually happening or something that it's not happening, but we are thinking of it. We can make our thought so real. Well, our new cortex, it's the biggest part of our brain, right? So we can think with a lot of details, and the body really responds to that. For how long do we want to punish ourselves? For how long we want to punish that other person, or at least the projection of the other person? That's a good question. So once you went to a therapist, like an RPT therapist, rapid personal transformation therapist, you get to that situation. We start from the one at 70 minus years old, because the same emotion you felt for your partner, the same sadness, the same anger, you felt it also during your first 7 years. So we get there. The first time you experience that situation with the understanding of a 7 years old minus kid, and we create at least a new path, okay, where the old mechanism has been melt. We realize how it works, we acknowledge it, and thanks to the process, that mechanism is losing power over you. So this new path is a path of freedom, because I actually now have a choice. Now for me it's much easier. Every time I meet a new girl, or a new possible partner, every time now I am not getting triggered by my old emotion, because they have had a lot of power all of this time because of that resentment that I felt for my ex. Now I see a new person and I let them speak. I let them speak, I observe them. Just a feeling of calm. You are more present. And if any other situation would trigger you, would trigger that old mechanism, you are becoming more mindful about how emotions are working. You start to recognize them before they get to this top and they would just speak instead of you. You get more aware of it and okay, I got myself. I caught myself again feeling a little bit of envy for my colleague who has a wonderful job and is super happy, and I know that thinking bad of them, it's not really helping. It's not helping our relationship first of all, but it's not also helping me, because if I'm envy, it's because underneath I believe that I can't achieve what they have already achieved. If I am jealous of, I don't know, a superstar or whatever person you kind of find yourself every time thinking of and saying every time, it's because deep down we don't think we can get there. We can do that. We can have that wonderful and successful relationship, long-term relationship, as they have. We believe we cannot live a life that it's worth to be lived. We don't believe that it's possible for us to bring so much happiness in our life. Yeah? So, staying in the unconsciousness, it's not really smart. I mean, well, some people, they came here to this planet to experience other things, to experience maybe a life of sufferance, a life of sweat, blood and tears, and that's it. But if we know that those mechanisms, unless we do something with them, they will just drive us right there to that dead ending, which is again repeating the same patterns and then screwing up the next relationship and the next relationship and the following one. Same thing, it can be about getting the job that we really want. If we feel that we are unworthy, if we feel that we don't deserve that, we get to this interview and somehow people realize that you don't believe in yourself, you're not confident enough. You have a wonderful CV, you have an amazing job experience on the paper, but when they see you, you don't seem like this person here on the CV. And those who do interview, they are trained, okay, to do that, to analyze all of those data that are not only the data here on the paper, but are those the real thing. And by the way, each of us have this skill of understanding with whom we are talking to. And that potential partner, that girl or that young guy, or well, it depends on your age. It can be a grown-up man, it can be a grown-up woman. They might say, okay, well, you look great, you look good, you are nice, you are kind, but I have a feeling have a sensation that it's better not to get involved in a relationship with you. I don't know why, but I just have this feeling. And they might not say it to you out loud. You might just not reply to your phone call or messages, or they might even not give you their phone number that evening. You might just find a way to kind of get lost in the crowd and sneak out of the place where you met. Why? Why it's that? Because every time we are communicating with other people, not only verbally, we are communicating with them not only with our body language. Now I'm talking about science, okay? Scientists have discovered that every organ in our body has a field, an electric field and a magnetic field, okay? I see some faces over there. Somebody's like, really, but I don't see it. Yes, we don't see it, as well as we don't see the microwave, we don't see the Wi-Fi, we don't see the radio waves, but we can measure them. So now we can measure also the field that is not only on your router, but it's on this thing which is inside here, our brain. We can measure it, and people actually don't measure it like with numbers, but people react to that. You know what? When we say that we bring our self with, we bring our memories with ourself, we bring our history, we bring our thought with ourself. It's true. You can move to another country, okay? You can physically move to another country, but your story, your old self is coming with you, okay? I'm saying about a story which is, again, if you think, it's not our actual story, but it's the story that we tell to ourselves. Our memories, they are not as the event, they are not exactly the same as they were. I mean, when the thing happened. Same thing is about our story, the story of ourselves. So we get to another country, and again, I am the one who went through so many breakups, went through one divorce, didn't, at the end, didn't get that job because the interviewer said that I don't match with the person which is here written in the CV. But we have a choice. And we have that choice always. It's accessible to us to see ourselves not for who we think we are, but for who we are. And we are much more than what we used to think. Okay? When we let go of all of those defense mechanisms, with all of these heavy baggages, we start to see ourselves as potential. And every situation that occurred, every person that we met, they were giving us some information. They were also potential. The way I used to react to those events and those people was because of my past trauma. Yeah, it was was because of I was not really in control of my emotion. But now I see potential in this situation. Now that we are having this conversation with my relatives or with my friends about whether it's right or wrong doing the vaccine, and I'm not getting so triggered as I would have been 2 years ago before I did this rapid personal transformation process, and I can still speak my truth. I can still say what's my opinion about that. But maybe now the emotion, so the energy that I'm spreading out, it's not about anger, it's not about resentment, it's about maybe acceptance, it's about, okay, it's so personal, it's so personal. Everyone had enough time to make their choice. Whether that choice was coming from a place of fear, just survival, or whether that choice was taken from a place of calm, understanding. And some people, they are really much more into their rational mind, and they still can come and do the process with me. But even those people, they tell me that, last time I talked about this vaccination thing, I was not even in my mind. I was shaking. My emotion was really speaking instead of me. And those people who are more into their heart center, and they really are generous, they have a vision which is not so common in today's world, but you see that they are more, let's say, calm during their life. Even their way to approach work is not so stressed. But when we start to talk about this vaccination thing, they are not anymore in their heart center. Again, they got so shaken. They see how much injustice there were in this world, how people took decision whether to do it or not to do it. They took it with so much close mind, close setting, and nobody could argue with them, or at least, well, I say argue because usually when you want to talk again, it's about arguing, just about arguing. You didn't say everything last time because they didn't allow you, so you want to argue. Yes, I mean, it's a big topic, what emotion can do to us, and once we get more mindful, once we become more aware, we really can enjoy them. We really can use that potential to create something. We can just use it instead of getting angry. We can move it and do some art. We can use it for create, I don't know, a new composition, just wonderful melodies, they are talking about that kind of feeling. You can write something, whatever, and the more you get into the therapy with me, the more you also become more aware of what you need. And you tell me, those are the situations where even after so many years of meditations, I still get triggered. What can I do? Okay, so we do, of course, the process together. So we do the session, and I give you some tool that you will decide whether to use them or not. You have them in your toolbox, and you just can pick them and say, okay, now I'm gonna do this kind of breathing, for example. Now I'm gonna do this technique. I'm gonna see what is happening. Okay? I'm gonna take back my power. I'm not gonna disempower myself, saying, oh, how bad I am, or oh, again, or this thing. I'm gonna observe the situation from another place. Okay? Where it's not about criticism, it's about just knowing more of who I am. I see some comments over here. It's in Italian. I'm still getting more confident with this practice. Sometimes the emotional weight, it's too big to be contained. Yes, and that's why thinking that, from tomorrow I'm gonna change everything. From tomorrow I'm not gonna get triggered when they tell me that I am wrong. It's so naive. It's really naive to think that just like that we can change. Maybe somebody can do it. Maybe. I don't know anyone who really did it just like that, unless they did a process. Okay? Something had to be changed in our setting. What we know about our mind is that 95% it's just programs, it's just subconscious. So we cannot really deal with that 5%. That 5% is saying, I'm not gonna react as before. That's a very good thought. But what about the other 95%? The other 95% was wounded. That other 95% remember about what happened in the past. Okay? And every time that someone is arguing with us, we might take it as a threat for our survival, and that 5% in that moment just zip get muted, and all the other programs are just giving more power to that emotion, and that emotion will speak again instead of us. So that's why when we have a one-on-one conversation, whether our session is live or it's online, that's our gym. That's the place where we build more understanding of ourselves. That's the place where we heal that wound. We don't reject it, we understand it and we heal it, and we free the path for new behaviors. Okay? So when the situation happens, when something will again be coming on your way, and someone is saying, I think that the protein that you are taking when you go to gym, they are just rubbish. Okay? And after you did the process, you're like, whoa, I'm not getting touched as I was getting touched before. It could have been about protein, it could have been about my dress, it could be about anything that I would just desire to hurt them, just really, wow, but right now I'm not getting triggered. Yet their behavior is not changed. Interesting. Is that a miracle? No. There is a science behind that. And we did the process, and you changed those subconscious programs. You changed those things that before were talking or giving the emotion to talk instead of you. Okay? And more and more often, my clients are telling me that those people that sometimes before they were so triggering them, and it seems that they were doing it on purpose every time. You are again with those shoes. I mean, like, yeah, I've been going to the gym for 2 years, and that's again same pair of shoes. After they did this rapid personal transformation process, the client, not the person who is triggering, but the client did this process. Somehow their field, right? This field that it's created, that it's just emanated by their brain, their heart, and all their organs. When it's getting into contact with the field of this other person, they start to react differently too. They don't want to be so mean with you anymore, and you're like, wow, that stuff is working. It's like really working. Not only my reaction changed, but also the way other people are talking to me is changing. It's really changing. And again, this person, after they did this whole process, getting to this childhood trauma and then going to their divorce, getting to that feeling. So we do also a lot of expecting in the field. So we talk with the projection that you have of your ex-husband or ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, whoever it is, and we interact with that person, okay? And if you would do it just by your own, you would get again to the same path, right? You are wrong, I'm right, and all of these things. When you have a mediator, when you have an expert who got the training and who knows how to help you to speak your truth, but from a place of coherence, right? Instead of a place of just reactions and instinct and whatever emotion is coming. Then you are having a dialogue with this person, and you're like, wow, if I had that skill 5 years ago or 10 years ago when that breakup happened, probably I would have managed everything in a different way. Maybe we would have been together right now. Wow. Stop right there. We are not changing the past, okay? You did your best. You did what you could do with the tools that you had back then. Right now you got more tools. Right now you are doing a process of self-awareness. You are growing, really growing. You are literally growing. New neural connections are happening. You're wiring your brain, yourself differently. And also the way you communicate to others, it's just more efficient. And then you see that the person, after the process, is like, oh, so good, everything is so nice, and got an invitation for an event, go to this event and find so many interesting people, and they are talking to them, to each other, and finally you see, I mean, that's what happened. I mean, like, you see that there is somebody that you like, okay, and you start to talk to them, and eventually they might realize that you are available. Okay? You are available. You are not anymore in a messy relationship with your ex, and that relationship kept you busy from other people. Yeah, maybe you didn't wear anymore your ring, but they perceived that with you it's not gonna work because you're here stuck to your past here, and everywhere you're radiating a field of not for sure acceptance, love, appreciation, not at all. But once you healed that wound, once you have become more aware and free, then other people see you also as a potential partner, as a potential co-worker, as a potential employee, leader, whatever. Okay? So each of us have the choice right now, and this is an invitation for you to ask to yourself whether you are ready to know yourself more, to start to empower yourself. And if the answer is yes, then we can have amazing conversations, we can have amazing processes, and instead of unconsciously sabotaging ourselves, unconsciously disempowering ourselves, we can feed ourselves with another kind of food, which is, yes, also material. Sometimes often people start to eat much better when they get this love for themselves. They want to nurture their body much better. But I'm talking about the kind of diet that we are having every day, diet of our thoughts, diet of our feeling, diet of our emotion. Every day we are feeding ourselves with something, whether we know it or not. And if we don't know it, then whatever is coming, it's coming. And if we, again, keep this old thing inside, if we keep this like a armor, and we identify ourselves with those emotions, with those thoughts, with those armor, then it's so hard to just to shake you and to remove it. Well, unless you choose to do personal transformation experience, and it will be easy. Really, it's a very good technique. It's so soft. You don't get to live again your trauma. You got to understand them, acknowledge them, accept them, heal them. Anyway, it's free. So keep in touch. If you have any additional question, I would be happy to answer to you. For now, wish you a nice day. As you can see here, it's evening already. Hope you enjoy. Keep in touch.